Okay, guys, we are going to talk about distances and how to measure distances. Okay, I am looking at a number line. This is just your typical number line. Yes, I know it's not perfect. It's okay, neither am I. All right, so we're going to look at this, and I am going to draw a couple numbers, a couple marks on my number line, and we're going to talk about them and the distance between them, okay? So if I put a line right here, I know that this line, because of how close it is to the 10, is the 9, okay? And I know that this mark right here is 0. So my question is, what is the distance that I have to travel in units going from 0 to the number 9? How far am I traveling? Well, if I sit here and I count, I can start at 0 and I can say, okay, there's 1 unit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I know if I am traveling from 0 going to the 9, I have traveled 9 units. Well, does it work the same if I'm going negative? Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to put a mark right here. And I want to know what this one is. Well, I know from where the 5 is that this should be the number -7. And I know it's -7 because it is to the left of 0. And so I would be traveling this direction, which again would make it negative. But I want to know, how far did I travel? How many units did I go? So I'm going to start at 0 again, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Well, look at that. I traveled 7 units, but I went into the negative, but I still only traveled 7 units. I have to have a traveling point, and I can't be negative if I have a distance, okay? Well, in math, we call this distance to 0 absolute value. Absolute value is the distance from 0 to my number, okay? So this is the distance I've traveled from 0 to the number. Okay, the distance from 0 to my number is called absolute value. Let's look at some examples. -82. Well, again, if I had a number line and this is 0 and I'm going down here and I've got all these marks, blah, 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 blah. Somewhere way down here is -82. And I know that if I take and I count all these numbers between there, I'm going to get 82. Okay? Even though it is -82, it's going to actually be 82 units is my distance. So in math, we have a special symbol that we use to show absolute value. And it looks like this. My original number was 82. And the math symbol are these solid lines that are slanted. Okay? And this means absolute value. Okay? Absolute value. That's what these lines tell us. Okay, so let's do some examples. Let's see if we can solve for absolute value. Okay, the absolute value of 18 is 18. The absolute value of -18 is also 18. So my solutions are the same, even though one is positive and one is negative. You'll notice that all of my absolute value, it changes what's on the inside of my absolute value brackets, okay? So my negative right here basically goes away, and I get positive 18. I cannot have negative distances. So let's look at a couple more. The absolute value of -43 is 43. The absolute value of 802 is 802. Okay? couple more. The absolute value of negative 5,852. This works for big numbers too, is 5,852. Again, this works with positives, negatives, big numbers, little numbers, doesn't really matter. The absolute value of 1,204 is 1,204. And I've got to make sure I put my commas in there. Sorry about that. All right, couple more. Negative, absolute value of negative 6,764 is 6,764. Okay, the absolute value of 697 is 697. Super easy. Okay, now can I use this when I am doing a mathematical problem, an equation? Absolutely. All you need to do is break your equation down, solve for the absolute value, and then do your actual equation, okay? So I know the absolute value of negative 1 is 1, and the absolute value of 1 is 1. And then I have this addition sign right in the middle that I need to bring down so I can add. And I know 1 plus 1 is 2. So my solution is 2. Now, does this work all the time? Absolutely. Does it work? Can it work if I don't have a absolute value bracket on one of my numbers? Sure. Just again, break it up just like we did before. The absolute value of negative 22 is 22. 18 is just 18. It does not change. And then my addition sign drops down again. Okay, 22 plus 18. Well, right now I see my equation horizontally. If that is a problem for me, I can just sit and rewrite it vertically. Sometimes it makes it a lot easier to be able to do that because this is something you're used to seeing now. 8 plus 2 is 10. Drop the 0, add the 1. 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So my solution is 40. Okay, let's look at another one. Ooh, let's subtract. Okay, absolute value of negative 72 minus the absolute value of negative 32. Okay, so just again, break it up into smaller pieces. The absolute value of negative 72 is 72. My subtraction doesn't change. The absolute value of negative 32 is 32. And again, if it bothers me for my equation to be horizontal, I just switch it to vertical. 62 minus 32. Do my subtraction. 2 minus 2 is 0. 7 minus 3 is 4. Look at that. My solution is 40 again. Okay? Let's do something else. We've done addition. We've done subtraction. Let's try multiplication. The absolute value of negative 18 times the absolute value of negative 3. Okay, so let's look at it. Absolute value of negative 18 is, 18. Absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Again, my multiplication symbol comes down. 18 times 3. Again, if I can't see this horizontal, I am just going to switch it to vertical. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So my solution is 54. Okay, add, subtract, multiply. What's left? Let's divide. Uh-oh, I forgot my division sign. Okay, 18 divided by the absolute value of negative 6. Well, 18 doesn't change. My divided sign doesn't change. What is the absolute value of negative 6? Well, the absolute value of negative 6 is 6. Okay, so I need to switch this into a division problem with the radical. How do I know which one goes inside the radical? Well, if I were to take this and just read it, this would say 18 divided by 18 divided by 6. And because this is 18 divided by 6, I know that 18 goes on the inside, 6 goes on the outside, and now I can just run my math. 6 goes into 18. Well, 6 times 2 is 12. Oh, it's 3. 3 times 6 is 18 with no remainder. My solution to 18 divided by 6 is 3. Okay, so I have a challenge for you. Your challenge is to create 10 mathematical equations using absolute value in all of them. Now, do all your numbers have to have absolute value? No. You can mix and match, that's fine, but you must use absolute value in your equations somewhere. And you must use 2 of each, 2 addition, subtraction, multiplication, then division. Then you'll have 2 extras, and you can use 2 of your choice, whatever you want for that one. Just make sure all of your equations use absolute value, and make sure you have solutions. So have the solution. Okay, and you will bring it with you to class tomorrow. All right, have a great day. We'll talk to you later.